Welcome to this episode of The Weigh-In, where we talk to content creators, bait makers, and industry insiders. This episode's brought to you by our fine sponsors, Big Al Speed Shine. You can find all their products at BigAlSpeedShine.com. Spray it on, wipe it off, done. Deep gloss, slick finish, big shine. Big Al Speed Shine, slick it up. FCLX. FCLX is a specialized extinguishing agent designed to tackle complex lithium-ion battery fires and conveniently packaged for use in boats, side-by-sides, campers, and homes. Proudly made in the USA, FCLX penetrates the battery during thermal runaway, rapidly cooling the fire and preventing reignition. The FCLX agent interrupts the lithium oxidation process that fuels the fire while neutralizing the harmful gases. Get yours today at FullCircleLithium.com. Now, let's get ready to weigh in. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Monday night episode of The Weigh-In. We appreciate y'all stopping by. Sorry about that. The transition from the intro screen to the welcome screen here, I did not set that part up. I got talking and forgot to auto scroll to the next scene. So we're going to figure it out. Y'all know there's always some technical difficulties. We always have something on Monday night. Usually we have internet. So far, knock on wood, so far things have been good with the internet. So we hope that's going to hang tight in there. But I appreciate y'all stopping by. We got James Weber in the house, FNS Jigs, Eric LaRue, Blue Line Fishing. Y'all appreciate y'all stopping by. I know this time of the year, it's a weird time because it's still daylight when we start the show. So I know when we start, there's a lot of folks still on the water. So we'll catch a lot of folks here a little bit later that are getting off the water and coming home from work and whatever other stuff like that. So we'll get a lot more stuff in the comments. But folks, if you don't know, we got our guest tonight is Ashley Klaus. Is that how you say it?
Klaus or Klaus, either is correct. Klaus is the German pronunciation. It doesn't really matter as long as you don't make it something crazy. I've been Klaus, the American, the American pronunciation.
So if you say it to somebody, how do you say it? My name is Ashley
Klaus.
You say Klaus. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got you. Okay. Well, I apologize for mispronouncing your name then. I know it's right.
It's okay. You technically didn't.
When I read it, I was like, that's German. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it that way. But I understand because my last name is Collum. I've been called Colium. I've had different pronunciations. So I always like to make sure. I always like to make sure because I want to do it the right way. But yeah. So how are you doing tonight?
We're here, getting ready to head to Russell in the morning.
Russell. So we were talking about Russell before the show started. Mm-hmm. Now, you got me a little intrigued. We were talking about it about the same time we had to go live. So tell me a little bit about Russell because I've never fished there before. We hear a lot of people talk about it, but I've never fished there.
I love it. There's very few docks and there's very few people. It's not one of these lakes you're going to go out there in the summertime and get beat to death by wakeboard boats or jet skis or anything like that. Majority of the time, like I said, about 95% of the time you see somebody out on a boat, they're out there fishing. They're not out there riding around, joy riding. And it's a nice lake. It's clear water, standing timber. It's nice lake. We enjoy going there. Like I said, because it's quiet.
How big of a lake is Russell? Like, how many acres?
Oh gosh, why'd you have to ask me that?
Well, you don't have to. I mean, I'm over here pondering. I'm like, because it's a little bit of a drive for me to get to Russell, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm going to have to go check that one out because over here on my side of town, it's wakeboarding jet ski season. So,
oh yeah, I know. I experienced that this weekend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you went to Lanier this weekend.
Yeah.
How was that? How was that?
Oh gosh, I'm pretty sure I felt like I was in a car wreck Sunday when I got up.
I understand that. So real quick before we go much further, hey to everybody else. Appreciate Cole when you're in the chat. Appreciate it, brother. John G. Wilson, how's it going, buddy? Glad to see you back on the podcast. Guys, if you don't know, John's been out for couple of weeks now. They had a tragic accident in the family, and brother, we've been praying for you. We love you. I'm glad to see you back fishing again, and glad to see you back on the podcast. And before we go much further than that, we've got a couple of different tournaments going on for Mr. Wilson, and in the benefit tournaments, we got the Fishers of Hope tournament. Is going to be, I believe it's August 1st. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, August 1st. And then we've got the Tourney X tournament. That's the kayak tournament, online tournament. Listen, you don't have to have a kayak. You can still sign up like I did, like a lot of folks did, sign up for it and get in that tournament, and all it goes to help benefit John and his family in this difficult time. Brother, we love you. I'm glad to have you back, man. I just want to take a second to say that we do appreciate you showing up tonight. I know I couldn't imagine, brother. John, make sure y'all show him some love. He's one of our faithful. He is, and I said it last week, John. I said I don't know how John finds time, because he's always on the podcast shows and he's always fishing. So like, I don't know where his time comes from. And he transports pets from Georgia to other states for whatever adoption stuff that he does. And man, it's just crazy. But anyway, glad to have him back. So anyway, back to Russell real quick. So I got people in the comments already talking about it. I'm very interested now, because I'm like, that's where I'm going. But anyway, we were talking about Lanier. My bad. All right. So it was like you were in a car wreck.
I took waves over the front. I took waves over the back. I took them from every direction you could possibly think of.
So what boat are you guys in?
I am in a 2023 ZXR 21 Skeeter.
Gotcha. So you're not in a small boat.
No.
Exactly. So you're in a full size rig. You're not. I'm in an 18-foot 91 Ranger. I'm going to take waves every which way they come. I mean, I'm just going to eat them, for sure. So, did you fish all weekend?
I got there a little after, probably about 10 on Friday, and got a little bit of practice in. Had to go pick up a few things. Had to run the Hammonds and pick up a few things, and then we fished our club tournament Saturday. So we fished till 3. Yeah.
You ain't fishing Lanier unless you go to Hammonds. You didn't have to pick up anything. You just got to go to Hammonds. It's just like
we always have to make a trip.
That's like a requirement. You can't drive up there. I mean, I drive from where I'm at. It's an hour and 20 minutes away. I'm like, I got to go to Hammonds. What for? Nothing, but I got to go to Hammonds.
Yeah.
Got to go to Hammonds. So
there's something I need.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got it too, for sure. So y'all had a club tournament Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And what club is that?
It's Backwater Bassmasters down here on Clarks Hill. We're a CHC club, or Clarks Hill Committee Club. So, and they like to do it out of town every year. So that was where they voted for our out of town. It's
a good lake to fish for out of town. Bad time of the year to fish it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I tried to tell them. I was like, let's go at Christmas or something.
Yeah, definitely just a terrible time of the year. But so how often do you get to fish Lanier?
That is well, if you count practice, that's the 3rd time I've ever been on it.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's kind of like me. I mean, how far away are you from Lanier, where you're at now?
About 2.5 hours.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you're a little further away than what I thought for some reason. You're a little further away than. Yeah, that's a little bit of a haul. That's like me driving to Gunnersville. It sounds great when you first say it, and then after you drive there, fish the 8 hours, then drive back the same day, you're like, probably should have stayed overnight. Overnight. That's a good.
Well, one. We had cabins rented, and so we got to stay for the weekend, so it was nice.
Right. Yeah. I mean, my problem is I'll drive, like in my head, I'm like, 2.5 hours isn't bad. So I make a habit. Up until this last trip to Gunnersville, I would literally drive to Gunnersville that morning, fish the tournament, and then drive back that evening. And I'm like dead on my feet when I get.
That's tough.
Stupid. 5 hours of driving, 8 hours of fishing in between. So, anyway, we got some comments real quick. So Coleman says, well, Blue Line Fishing says, don't call you late for fishing. We're talking about how to say your last name. He said, don't call you late for fishing. And then Eric said, you had me at very few people talking about Russell. So I'm right there with him on that one. That's
I love it. I'm telling y'all, I have been out there every month you can think of, anytime, even when it's schooling season up there, you might see 7-8 boats, a tournament. I went up there and fished while they had the Skeeter tournament, and I didn't even see anybody.
Really?
Yeah, it's I love it. I absolutely love it.
I wonder,
like I said, there's very few people. Like, there's a couple marinas. You're not going to find a dock hardly. You might find a fishing pier or something at one of the parks.
Yeah.
But that's about the extent.
I wonder why it doesn't have as much population on it. I mean, what about it?
Well, I think the Corps did something with Russell where you can't live on Russell. Like, you can't be waterfront.
I got you. Okay. Well, that does change.
Because I don't think they have Russell set up as a recreational lake. I probably should have done a little bit more reading up on Russell before I started blabbing my big mouth about it.
No. we'll have people in the comments that have fished Russell or know the background. So if y'all know the background about Russell, tell me, because I'm asking. I want to know. I want to know if there's some information, because I'm sitting over here going, and like Eric said, you had me at few people. I mean, especially when you got stand up. And then Coleman says Russell reminds him of West Point, but slightly better due to herring. LOL.
Yeah, they do have herring. It's herring lake.
So, if I'm not mistaken, though, Coleman, I believe West Point has herring as well. I just don't think it's as prolific as other places, like obviously Russell, or definitely not like Lanier. But I've been told that there's herring in West Point. But West Point, it gets traffic, but it doesn't get the same kind of traffic like Lanier or even Wedowee does, where I fish a lot. And here we go. Tim White says Russell is 26,500 acres. So that's a little more than almost triple what Wedowee is, the lake that I fish a lot.
Yeah, I didn't remember it being big.
Yeah, I consider that medium. I wouldn't say big. Definitely, it's like I said, Wedowee's 10,000 acres, I think it is, and then West Point's way bigger than that. And then obviously getting to your Laniers and stuff, they're monstrous. And
I was thinking, I'm on Clark's Hill, that's 71,000 acres. So
yeah. So that's not a bad gig, especially if you're not fighting the boat traffic. That's the difference. Yeah. I mean, in Wedowee, imagine Lanier, but shrunk down by however many, down to 10,000 acres, with not the same amount of weight boats, but they literally line up 5 wide everywhere they go, and you can't.
Oh my gosh!
You can't fish it. I mean, you cannot fish it when they do. And they just made it where you have to be, this last year, you have to be 100 feet off of any shoreline, dock, pier, structure, anything like that, before you can wake. So they're in the middle of the channel everywhere they go. You're not getting away from it at that point. Like, you can't sit on one side and get away from it. So anyway, I'm gonna have to try Russell out. Y'all got me thinking about that one now. It'll be there's
a couple state parks. They have cabins and campsites. Like, I don't think there's very many. I want to say, I know Richard B. Russell State Park has cabins, campsites, and I think there's one other one, but off the top of my head, I cannot think of the name of it.
Okay. All right, cool. We got Sham for real in the house. What's going on, buddy? Tim also says it used to be really good before the spots took over. So I guess it's a big spotted bass fishery now.
It is. A long time ago, I was told that the Corps stocked it with F1 largemouth. There are still some really good largemouth to be caught, but you just got to find them. But it has quality spots. I mean, they're not quite Lanier spots, but they're better than Clark Hill spots.
So when you say quality, what size are we talking? Like your average spotted bass, 2.5, 3 pounds?
For up there, yeah. Like I said, I'm from Clark Hill, so we're used to catching these little 12-inch dinkers, and you catch millions of them until you get tired of catching them. But I can go to Russell and I can catch a little bit better quality.
Okay, so and you said it's a clear lake too, though, right?
Yes. But it's got some creeks you can get back in the dirt and stuff, and that's where most of them largemouth are.
Right. So what do you when you're going out there? What are you tying on for tomorrow? What are you going to hit them with first?
Well, supposedly it's on fire right now, but we're going to see. I've got I'm a skimmer. Of course I got a little minnow to shake, a fluke, and a shaky head, I do believe. And there's something else, but I'm forgetting.
Hey, I'm not saying, but I know topwater walking baits have been pretty good here lately.
Yeah.
I've been catching the crab. Even the spotted bass been tearing them up here lately.
Yeah.
So,
that's what helped me on Lanier this past weekend. So
there you go. Good deal. So how'd y'all end up in the tournament? How'd y'all place?
I had 15 and some change. I ended up in second.
There you go. Good deal. What was first? Do you remember what first was?
16 and some change. My buddy Tim got me by a pound.
Got you by a pound.
Had I jumped in the big fish side pot, I'd have got it too, but I didn't jump in. I had a 3.8 spot. He had a 3.7.
Oh, dang. That's the way it goes too. I'll pay into every big fish pot and never win, and then I don't pay into one. It's like I could have won it, kind of thing. So I mean, if it gets me every time. Well, it happens. But if it makes you feel any better, I fished a tournament on Martin. Have you ever fished Lake Martin over in Alabama? All right, so it's Wedowee. The Tallapoosa River feeds Wedowee, and it feeds down to Martin, and it's got herring in it. It's a spotted bass. I mean, it's got some largemouth in it, and I caught a 2.7 largemouth pretty early in the morning on a buzz bait. And I'm looking. It's a 2.7. It's not a big largemouth.
Yeah.
Well, I get to weigh in, and the guy in front of me weighs in like a 2.3, and they're like, "All right, you got big fish." I looked at my partner. I said, "You got to be kidding me!" So I weighed it in. 45 minutes later, after all 34 boats weighed in and all the stuff, I got big fish for the tournament for our club classic. Big fish with a 2.7. I'm like, and we got 6th place with 8 pounds, 8 and some change or whatever. I'm going. So I've come to find out the average bag at Lake Martin is like the average weighed in bag for Lake Martin is like 7.5 pounds. I'm like, you can catch a million fish like you talking about Clarksville. You can catch a million 1 pound spotted bass out there all day long if you want to do it. All right, so Eric says him and Coleman are going to be donating August 1st. So that's for the John Wilson tournament. They're going to be donating. They're going to be boating together. Jeff Brazil, what's going on, brother? And John, LOL. Thanks, Tony. I love you guys. We love you too, brother. Heck yeah. And then Eric said, or Coleman says it's going to be a good time. Obviously, you guys can make it out. It'd be awesome. Angie Copas, 3725. Hey, Ashley. There we go.
Hi, Miss Angie.
Thanks for stopping by the chat. We appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll make a good show. All right. Let's see here. We're going to scroll down. This is Eric says Hammond's is a national treasure. There we go. Sure. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I keep up with the comments because I'll get so ingrained in talking until I forget to look at comments and they're 30 minutes removed and I'm missing folks who are leaving the chat because he ain't even talking to us. So, yeah. And then, like I said earlier, me and Eric fished together a lot. He said, me and Tony decided to make those lake day trips, and that's what we did. So we fished Logan Martin Saturday, and holy, you talk about being, like you said, being in a car wreck. The guy, we went with the guy put us on offshore stuff midday. It was good fishing. They were firing up. But I got up yesterday and went to go fish yesterday. I come off the lake after about 2 hours. I was sore all over because I had to ride. It was 3 of us on the boat. So I'm riding on the step in the middle of the boat, taking those waves. Yeah. My back, my butt, everything hurt so darn bad. I'm like, yep, not doing that today. So we got, Patricia Leanne Shaw says no boat docks on Russell. So Eric wants to know, is Russell your home lake?
Clarks Hill is my home.
Clarks Hill is your home lake.
But Russell would be my home away from home.
So how far do you live away from Russell compared to Clarks Hill? Hour? That's not bad.
Hour and some change. Yeah, hour and some change. Russell feeds into Clarks Hill. So
right. So you're closer to Clarks Hill then.
Yeah, like I said, we could walk while we're talking and I could get to the boat ramp.
Oh my goodness. That says a lot. So Clark is now. I'm assuming Clarks Hill is way busier than Russell.
Yes.
A lot of people on Clarks Hill compared to Russell.
Yes.
So
yes.
I guess I could see that making that hour drive for that. I can see that.
Absolutely.
Now, does it get as bad? Does it get as bad as like some of these other lakes around as far as traffic goes? Like, I mean, it's one of those places you're like noon, you're leaving.
Clarks Hill's pretty rough, but for the most part, with it being so big, you can find somewhere to hide.
I got you.
You can run somewhere and get away from people for the most part.
Okay.
Just getting back to the boat ramp's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, that's the reason I leave at 11 from where I fish at. It's not because I can't find somewhere to go, because I can get there. The problem is if I don't leave at 11, I'm fighting everybody and their brother coming out of church or whatever they're doing to get to the boat ramp to get home. So I mean, I'll pass a flotilla of boats just trying to get back into the dock. So, and that's Coleman brings up something I thought I knew about Russell. Russell's a pump back lake, so it's always full pull, ridiculous amounts of timber. And I think it also stays like relatively warmer through the year, doesn't it? It stays warmer water most of the year, something like that.
With it being a pump back, it stays about the same all year. Usually, like some of these guys on Clarks Hill, they like to run Russell Dam because that water's cooler.
Right. I got you. Makes sense. And then Tim White. So this reminds me a lot of Wedowee. Russell is the darkest place on earth at night. No docks, no houses. The Corps owns 300 feet all the way around it. So there you go. That, like you said a minute ago, it's not I remember back in the late 90s, Wedowee was that way. There was no houses. It's got flooded timber. You had to take a spotlight or you wasn't getting around that lake at night for sure. Yeah. So you got me now my curiosity's piqued. I'm gonna have to make a trip over to Russell. You might see one extra boat one day. You might see a few.
It's fun. I enjoy it.
Hey,
I enjoy it, and it's they don't have any no wakes unless you're on the far outsides of the bridge. Pretty much you can run through whatever you need to run through. They still have them at like boat ramps and stuff like that, but other than that, it's quiet. Everybody's out there fishing.
I'm still shocked that you're talking about getting out there and only seeing 6 or 7 boats. That's what shocks me the most. Like, you're not seeing a ton of boats out there. For that size of water, you would think it'd be covered up with boats. I mean, that's crazy to me. And then Patricia Leanne Shaw says Russell has some big spotted bass. So
they do.
Apparently,
we've caught some jumbos out there.
Right.
And it has got giant striper.
Really?
It's a trophy striper. Like, you can only keep 2, and they have to be over, like, if I remember right, they have to be over like 24 inches.
Yeah.
And there's monsters out there. We have caught some big ones.
I'm not keeping them to eat personally. I mean, I will. I have some. I have kept them to eat, but I just want to feel. I mean, if me and Eric talk about it all the time, I don't care. If they're biting the line, biting the lure, I will reel them in or try my best.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We've had to chase them down with a trolling motor. There's some big ones out there.
I like it. Listen. I am not shy about throwing at a school of stripers. Me and Eric went to Lanier a few weeks back, and we're like, striper started blowing up. Yes, please. I'll take it. Blue line fishing.
I caught one Saturday.
There you go. Oh, and that's not good when it's in a tournament, though. That's a bad thing. Blue line says you eat, sleep, fishing, and is hands down the best. She will do anything for anyone, especially with helping kids getting into fishing. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, with that being said, give us a little bit of background. He talks about you getting kids into fishing. What kind of background do you have as far as that goes?
I volunteer captain.
You sent me your bio, but it cut off the bottom half of it, so I can only see a certain part of it. So, tell me about that.
I volunteer captain when I can. 2 years ago, I volunteered for our local high school. I took those guys. This past year, I volunteered for another local high school. I got to take them. A couple of my buddies that are coaches for the high school will call me if they need a boat or they need somebody to captain. Any chance I get, I can take these kids and teach them something other than a video game or something like that, or being a heathen. I'm gonna take that opportunity to do
it. That's very admirable, because I try to help people as much as possible. I just don't know that I have the patience to take high school kids fishing. Not that I don't have the patience. I have patience, but you know how hard it is to sit on a boat and watch somebody else fish.
I know. I promise. It is. It's trying at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also got to be rewarding. The rewarding part also is the trying.
Watching them catch fish, and it's just, and them get so excited. It makes it worth it to me.
So how did you find that that's what you want? How did you figure out that's what you wanted to do, though? Like, what finally was like, you know what, I'm gonna captain some high school kids, or I'm gonna captain a boat for some school kids?
We didn't have these kind of opportunities when I was in school. And my local high school reached out to me. They're like, look, we had a fishing team and we can't find anybody to take these kids. Would you be interested? I'll absolutely give them that opportunity. If this is something that they really want to do and they're going to put their minds to it, I'll give them that chance. I don't want them to not be able to go because their parents didn't have a boat or something like that. Right.
I mean, that's awesome. That speaks a lot to character, and that means that's more than anything. Than you can't put a value on that. You can't put I mean, that's just awesome. That's good stuff about fishing, and that you stepped up to do that. So that's really admirable. Now, how big is the fishing team that you're captaining for, or that you volunteer captain for from time to time now?
Well, this year I volunteered, and like I said, their team is small. They just got started. They only had 4 kids, so 2 teams. But they didn't have a captain for their other set of kids. And I was like, all right. One of the kids that I happened to captain, I grew up with his mom. And he sent me a message. He's like, Miss Ashley, you still got a boat? I said, yes, sir. He said, can you take me fishing? I said, absolutely.
Well, there you go. That's really good then. So now does it look like it might grow to a bigger team the next year or so? Or is it just something that's going to stay kind of small?
I think so. I think if these kids that fished on the team explain to these other kids, hey, this is a great time. We got to go and sit out all day and fish, and nobody was heckling us or pestering us, or all we did was fish, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'll grow the sport. And like I said, it's going to take somebody talking to them too.
Yeah. So what's one of the biggest hurdles you see when it comes to captaining younger people fishing? What's one of the bigger things you've seen from that standpoint, tournament fishing wise? That not necessarily like beginning fishing or anything like that, but as far as tournament fishing goes for younger kids, what's one of the biggest hurdles you've seen from them?
Some of these, it's hard to say, but some of these people, they just don't. You got to teach these kids respect from the beginning. You can't
Thank you.
just be like, oh look, they're over there fishing. That's fine. They were there first. Leave them alone. If you want to
Yeah.
go over there, we'll go over there when they pack up and leave. We're not going to pull up on somebody because that's rude. I mean,
Right.
if they're your friends and they're like, hey, so and so, come over here and fish with us. That's a different story. But you're
Yeah.
not. We're going to teach manners and we're going to teach respect on the water, and that's something that a lot of them, they don't get that much these days. They're all about getting that W. And I
Yeah.
understand that. I'm out there to win too. I want you to win just as bad as you want to win, but we're not going to do it in an ugly way.
We still gotta lay our head down at night and be proud of ourselves too. So
Mm-hmm.
the reason I asked that, I didn't know that was going to be your answer, but the reason I asked that question, somebody made a post the other day, and it was a professional, and I think he was captain. I think it was a professional. I'm pretty sure he was captain in a boat, and that was his big complaint was when the young men or women, I think it was mostly men or young men at the time, walked across the stage. They did the whole, I want to thank my sponsor. He was like, look, take some time to thank them by name, be respectful and thank the boat captain by name. Don't say we want to thank our boat captain. No, his name is Jim. Thank him. He took the time to do it, or it's Ashley, whatever. Thank your boat captain. So the fact that you said the respect thing, that you're teaching them the respect, that's what it's all about anyway. It really is. I mean, we got grown folks that could use a lesson in it, not just these young folks. That's for dang sure. I've
I
been pulled up on
agree.
grown folks and I have kids, so
I
there's my
completely agree.
there's my soapbox on that. So a little bit of respect goes a long way, because some of these folks out here, they might still have some old school left in them. They might throw some stuff at your boat.
Oh,
So
absolutely. I fish with one of them all the time.
yeah, hey, listen, I'm too old to fight now. I'm not in the shape I was when I was in my 20s for sure. But there's a few people this last weekend I was like, y'all have got to be kidding me. I mean, I have never been run 10, 15 foot off the side of the boat by pontoons like I was on Saturday. It was wild.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely wild. I mean, we were sitting in the middle, yes, but there was plenty of room. They could have gone about 20, 30 yards a little further over. But yeah, but that's we were joking about it. That's pontoon drivers for you. No offense to anybody that drives a pontoon boat, but y'all get in one line, and if you can't get out of that line, because if you get out of that line, the world's going to come to an end.
You get lost.
They stay in that line. They will run over anything in that line for sure. All right, so Coleman says, I can second that. Nobody's on the lake. Magnum spots 4+ pounds, but hard to get to bite. You can fish any way you want and catch them. I like it even more.
Yes.
And then, like Eric said, I would rather catch big spots most of the time. Honestly, if I'm on a big lake that's hard to fish, whatever, I'm a largemouth guy. I'd rather have a largemouth any day of the week. But I love catching spotted bass, and if I'm having one of them days, I will go to a lake where I can catch spotted bass. That's for sure.
They pull like freight trains.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the best part is when you think you got a monster on there. I mean, how many times I've made a video like, it's a good one, and it's like 2.5 pounds.
It'll be like this big.
I don't care. And then the spots aren't that long. The spots are long, not fat. A 4-pound spot's like 22 inches versus Lanier like 18 inches. So Lanier's got them footballs, as we call them. It kind of reminds me. Russell kind of reminds me of Wedowee. I mean, it's just on the other side of the state because, and obviously Wedowie's in Alabama, but it's right across the line. But it's deep, clear lake, and it's got long spotted bass. They're not fat ones like Lanier, and it's got a good largemouth, but it's got a good largemouth population too. So I'm gonna have to make a trip over to Russell. It sounds like for sure. All right. So Eric wants to know, what's your favorite technique to fish?
It really depends on the time of year. I love to chase schooling fish. That'll probably be my downfall. If I see them busting, I'm gonna chase them long as I can chase them because I have lost my mind. But
it's just so much fun.
You can't help it. I can't help it. If I can get them to blow up on that top water, then I'm gonna throw at them. I'm gonna throw at them as long as I can reach them.
Right.
But 90% of the time, I'm going to either have a jig in my hand or I'm going to have a shaky head.
Okay. Why the jig and the shaky head? I'm asking that question. I kind of know the answer, but why jig and shaky head?
Because I'm lazy.
No, that's not lazy. It's because they bite it.
I'm a worm dragger. I will drag and count rocks. I mean, that's what I like to do. I like to fish junk. I like to throw at structure. I like to throw in a brush pile. I want to drag a rock pile. I want to count every single rock on this point.
Right.
That's just, I don't know. The first time I ever fished a tournament, that's what my dad tied on that electric only tournament I told you about. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. He was like, here, tied me on shaky head, and to town we went.
Yeah. I mean, it works. It works. My second best bag I've ever caught was on a doggone shaky head. 22 pounds of largemouth on a darn shaky head. I mean,
they'll eat it.
It works. They eat it every time. And it's it's funny you say that because we fished Logan Martin and we wanted it to be top water so bad. We fished it for like 2 hours with one bite. Then we went to a spot and there's like a road bed. He picks up a Magnum trick worm. And I had just a regular trick worm, a floating trick worm from 4-reel custom lures on there. And we hit that road bed. He catches one, I catch one, and I drug a worm 99% rest of the day. I don't care. We were offshore throwing worms. I don't give a dang.
Yep.
I don't care.
That's what I do.
They'll bite it out. Yeah, I mean it. But like you said, I love the top water stuff too. Though I like if I'm the same way like with Dowie. If they're busting top water, I'll spend 6 hours with that trolling motor on high chasing those little schools around.
I will.
Knowing it's only 1.5, 2 pound bass. I don't care.
It might be stripers or hybrids. I don't care. I'm throwing at them.
And I think that's why and we'll get into tournament fishing here more in a minute, but that's why I get spooled up in a tournament. I told you before the show, I'm snake bit on tournaments because I like to catch fish. I don't know if you're that way. I like to catch fish. So I'm that guy in a tournament.
That's how my dad is to a T. It don't matter what it is. Catfish, brim, crab, what, he don't care. If he can throw at it and catch it, he gonna throw at it and catch it.
I mean, I was in a tournament with an older gentleman. We were fishing the face of the dam one day, and he's over there dragging the shaky head near the riprap, and I saw a school of 6 bass come under the boat or coming towards the boat on forward facing. Well, I pick up my 20-foot DT20, knowing that it wasn't bass, just throwing it hybrids during the tournament. He just looks at me, he's like, "Really, dude?" I'm like, "I'm just tired of not getting bit. I'm gonna throw it them hybrids."
I wanted to make sure that those were hybrids. I just wanted to verify, make sure.
And honestly, I think it was like my first year with forward facing. So I was like, "That's 6 big fish right there. I'm gonna throw at these fish." And they did it, so it was hybrids. It was definitely hybrids. So.
Oh my gosh, my dad is the same way. My dad loves to throw at corn cobs.
Yeah.
Gar. He's gonna throw at them, and I think he's gotten pretty good at learning what catfish look like on it now too.
Yeah. So how old your dad?
Oh God, what'd you ask me? 63 this year. I'm sorry, Daddy, if you're listening and I'm wrong.
Well, so he uses forward facing. He's gotten where he uses it a little bit now.
Yeah.
There you go. See, everybody can use it. Everybody, it's fun. Yeah. It can be fun.
It's fun. I mean, I don't know why everybody's gonna hate. It is what it is. So everybody's not gonna agree, but it's part of it. It's a tool.
Well, listen, we've spoke it. We spoke forward facing, so cranking yanking will be somewhere down in the comments, giving us the eye roll, just so everybody knows. But anyway, it's okay. We don't mind.
We don't mind.
John says he stayed at Bobby Brown campground on Clark's Hill when I fished B-Lats Championship on Russell last year. I won big bass with a 2175 largemouth and 8th place. Russell's cool. There you go. Good deal. All right. And then Eric Rue said Lake Martin's king of the dinks. He is not wrong there. I think I might have missed a comment from Patricia Leanne Shaw says Russell record. Oh, record is a 6.8 spot is the record for Russell. Holy moly, that's a big spot. That
sounds about right. Like I said, I haven't looked at the lake record for it. I know Clark's Hill's only like 5'4", I think.
Wow. And then Lee Seidner, appreciate you stopping by. There's some big spots. Clark Hill, 6 pounds is the lake record. Holy moly, that's some big spots. Hey, listen, I don't If I'm catching 4s, I'm happy. I mean, that's big spots to me. I
Me
mean,
too.
I did a video for Widowee the other day, and I was hooping and hollering about a 398 or 396 spotted bass because we don't get those on a regular out there. So, but he does say, Lee says after the herring spawn, 2-pounders are the norm. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And Tom wants to know, and thanks Tom for stopping by. Are you fishing any spinner blades?
I like to on Russell in March, especially on the my dad's gonna kill me because I'm giving away our secret. Especially on the pylons on the bridge, the concrete on the bridge.
Get a pencil.
Usually March, April. You can go up there with a we like to throw a 3-bladed spinner bait, and
okay.
You just go up there and flip by that column, let it sink 3-4 seconds, and slow reel it in, and they'll wear it out. And if you don't catch them, you'll bring about $450 worth of herring with you.
Really?
Because they'll follow it all the way back to the boat hitting blades.
Really? So you're fishing? Well, it's the spots are hanging out under the pylons.
Yeah, they're hanging out right there, the pylons, waiting on the herring to come through right there at the rip wrap. We caught. I don't even know how many my dad caught before he was like, "Come up here and fish. I'm tired." I think we caught 30 or 40, but they were all cookie cutters. They were all 2 pounds, 2.5, right at 3.
Them good eating spots.
Yeah.
Them good eating spots. What I call them. That's what I call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Patricia says we talked about that earlier. Russell's a never low; it's a pump in, pump out lake. So there you go.
They maintain that level all the time.
And then Lee follows up his comment a minute ago: is Clark's Hill is the real deal. It will make you a great fisherman or make you go play golf. And we talked about that earlier about it being tough sometimes.
I'm telling you, if you can catch fish on Clark's Hill, you can go anywhere and catch fish because this lake will make you regret your decisions real quick.
Really?
Maybe I shouldn't have bought a boat. Maybe I should have took basket weaving classes or played checkers or badminton.
But I guess it changes so much till it's hard to figure out sometimes until you get it figured out. I guess I don't know.
Well, then when you get it figured out, 25 minutes later it changes again. So
yeah, that's true. And then Patricia says record striper 63 pounds. Holy
I told
crap.
you Russell's got some giants.
That'll tear up some equipment right there. 63-pound striper will tear some equipment up.
You got to chase it.
Yeah, you mess around and have that drag set just a tad bit too tight, and it'll strip your drag before you know it's burned up. I mean, it'll burn your drag up before you know it's done. Yeah, that'll be fun, but dang gum, I could do it. I have fun with it. Eric says Bigfoot may live at Lake Russell, so
that's a possibility.
That's a possibility. And then Alan, Big Al Speedshine, he's in the house. What's going on? And he said, Eric, I believe you're probably right. He probably does live there. Well, hey,
I've been looking for him.
All right, so you brought it up. I brought up Bigfoot. You said you've been looking for him. We always ask the question. I'll beat Eric to it tonight. He might have already asked it down the questions. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Yes. I love Bigfoot. There are magnets all over my refrigerator, stickers all over my cooler. I have Bigfoot socks. I love it.
So, all right. Why do you like Bigfoot? And have you ever had an encounter with Bigfoot? No, maybe not encounter, but if you got something that you'd like, yep, Bigfoot, this is why I believe in Bigfoot.
I haven't had any kind of interactions, nothing like that. There's so much stuff that's uncharted. There's millions and millions of acres that there's no way you can cover. There's no way.
Right.
If he don't want you to see him, you ain't gonna get seen. And if the Native Americans wrote about it, then they had to have seen something.
Hey, that's the one thing that for me, I'm like, they definitely have talked about different things like that, or wrote about it, or drawn on whatever. I'm like, that kind of gives me a little bit of pause for that. For sure. I mean, because I love Bigfoot stories. I'm not going to say that I believe in Bigfoot, but I would love for somebody to go, yep, we got Bigfoot right here. We found him. We've got him. We found the whole thing. But that leads me to my next thing real quick while we're talking about Bigfoot. You guys will be happy to know that the weigh-in has a mascot. We now have a mascot for the weigh-in. Sorry, I probably can't hear me now. We have a mascot for the weigh-in. My wife found us a Bigfoot stuffed plush, whatever you want to call it. I got to figure out where we're going to put him during the show. But what I'm going to do is tomorrow, either on my page, I may put it on the Fish North Georgia page, something. We're going to do a poll. We're going to name him or her, whichever one it turns out to be. I don't know if it's a male or female, but we're going to name it. So tomorrow, look for the post somewhere where we're naming the new weigh-in mascot our Bigfoot. So we asked that question to everybody. So now we have a mascot for the show. So it kind of worked out perfect. He's not going to be visible right yet, but you can see Bigfoot right there in the thing. So all right, sorry for that, but it worked out perfect. Okay. That worked out perfect. So we got a Bigfoot fan because we'll get folks on here and they're like, yeah, we got a few. I mean, like Seth Fighter, he's had stuff, and then we had Matt Steffen who had something on the live well. But we've never really had anybody on here that's like, well, we had one guy I think was like, yeah, I'm pretty big into cryptids, but that's awesome. I like that you like Bigfoot. So we've got the Bigfoot mascot now. All right, and all right, so we're gonna change gears a lot here because that's what we do on this show.
Okay.
Blue line fishing brings up something I wanted to talk to you about. You're also very involved in the PBA and does much for us veterans. So much for us veterans. So tell us a little bit about what the PBA is and all about it. I want to hear all about it.
Okay, so PBA is my Paralyzed Veterans of America. I was reached out to by one of their members in 2021, I think. I had no clue anything about this organization at all. One of my friends was involved with it. He was like, hey, you got a bass boat? I said, yeah. He said, what are you doing this Saturday? I said, nothing. He said, you want to come take somebody fishing? I was like, sure, whatever. And from then on, I have been in hook, line, and sinker. These guys are like my family. We take veterans from all over the United States. These guys fish a whole trail. It's 6 or 7 tournaments that they fish. Some of them have their own boats. Some of them are co-anglers. But like I said, they travel from all over the United States. We've got guys from Texas, Nebraska, Illinois, Maryland, all over the place, Kentucky, and they travel and fish this whole trail. And their Angler of the Year gets a chance to go fish the Bassmaster Classic.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. All right. So,
I mean, our Southeastern Challenge is just one little piece of their trail. They come down here. We run out of wildwood. We put together all kind of great packages for them. A lot of my sponsors jump in and help me out. A lot of my friends come and boat captain or they volunteer. I have drug everybody into this. Anybody that's involved with me, I have drug all of them. My dad's a captain now. My boyfriend's a co-angler. I'm a co-angler. All of my friends, they either run boats, they co-angle, or they volunteer to help park cars. Any little thing I can find for somebody that's with me to do, they're going to do.
There you go. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's a huge opportunity. So they fish a whole trail.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you know about where the trail goes? Most like, does it stay in a certain area? The Southeastern obviously is this division. Like, there's more than one division of it.
No, it's all one division. It's just a whole like tournament trail. They go, they fish down here at Clarks Hill. They go to Maryland. I think they fished Kentucky. I know they go to Florida and fish Toho.
Wow.
There was another one. I think that they fished in Nebraska.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at the list. But like I said, it's 6 or 7 tournaments. All these guys, they travel. They fish every one. I mean, it's just like any other big bass trail. I mean, they follow them around.
Yeah. And what was the name one more time so we make sure we got it?
It's the Paralyzed Veterans of America.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. It's one of those things where I fish with a veterans group out of West Georgia, and I got into it like my first year fishing. I think one of the first tournaments I jumped into when I bought my boat, and I went as a co-angler. And as soon as I felt guilty for doing it, because it's just a veterans tournament, and we take, there's gentlemen or ladies that are, a little more disabled, but I felt guilty the first time. I'm like, I'm an able-bodied guy with a boat, but I went because they didn't need another boater. They needed another veteran. They didn't need a boater at the time. So anyway, ever since then, I've tried to fish at least one a year if I can get into him, because he does multiple a year. But I'm huge. I think that's great. That's an awesome thing. That's exactly what. it's amazing to watch one day of fishing does for somebody that doesn't get to do it all the time or can't physically get out there all the time. And that's what, that's huge. That's awesome. So thank you for doing that from a veteran. Thank you very much for doing that. That
Like I
means a
said,
lot.
it is probably my absolute favorite tournament that I get to fish. I spend
Right.
the whole week with these guys, getting everything set up, everything ready to go. We do dinners, all kind of stuff, and it's just really a good time. And these guys, they don't treat you no different than anybody else. I'm everybody's little sister.
That's one I will say. When you get a bunch of veterans together, we don't care. We don't care. There's
Mm-mm.
no difference. Everybody's a fisher person, fisher woman, fisher man, however you want to say
Mm-hmm.
it. Everybody's fishing. They're all having fun. That's all it's about. That's all it's about. Well, I appreciate you telling us that. Thank you, Blue Line, for bringing that up because it was something I had, I saw in her bio, but I wanted to make sure she got a chance to talk about because I knew you were passionate about it. But I wanted to hear more about it too because that makes a lot. Look, and guys, look, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you get a chance to help out with a veterans organization when it comes to fishing, something like that, take the time to do it. I mean, do it one time. I promise you, you'll meet some great people, and you'll be hooked. Honestly, and that's no pun on that.
Absolutely.
You'll literally be hooked.
Absolutely. Like I said, they wrapped me up in 2021, and if I tried to go somewhere, they'd probably come and get me.
Oh yeah, you can't leave once you're family. You ain't leaving. That's for
Oh
sure.
no, no.
I had to back out of our veterans tournament the 1st of May because I was told I had to go to a wedding, and I had already volunteered to be the captain. I was like, nope, you got to go to a wedding. I'm like, well, dang. So I got to make the next one for sure. So cool. All right, Eric's got a question. Do you prefer old school fishing or scoping more than other techniques?
Hmm. I That's a hard question because I was taught the old school way. I was taught we're gonna look at these maps, we're gonna look at the weather patterns, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Can I scope? Yes. Do I like it? I use mine more to find structure than anything else.
Yeah.
I don't really I'm not out there chase. I will chase fish, but I feel like I'm more of a I don't know, I'm kind of a 50-50 with it. I really am. I don't think I'm a straight old school person, but I don't think I'm straight forward facing sonar either.
Right. Well, so I mean, all right. Let's back up and ask this question. Ask it a different way. Power fishing or finesse fishing? Which one's your strength?
I'm a worm dragger.
Yeah, but I drag a worm on a bait caster. I power
I
fish
do
a
too. I
worm.
don't fish. No, I
Yeah,
should say I don't. My
I
shaky
can.
head is on a 7'6" medium heavy with 17-pound fluorocarbon. I'm not playing
Yeah,
with these fish. If I
that's
throw in
right.
that brush pile, you coming out or the whole brush pile's coming with us.
I'm boat flipping you when you get there. I mean,
Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
So I don't consider that. To me, I don't consider that finesse. I mean, maybe
No,
people argue
finesse
me
to
with
me is a little light drop shot. And even then, my drop shot rig, when I have to throw it, it's not light. It's on 15-pound braid with a probably 17-pound fluorocarbon leader.
that. I mean, listen. I set the hook on one Saturday, and them guys thought I had a monster. When I set the hook, that fluorocarbon went to squealing, and I'm like, it
Mm-hmm.
was about a 2.5 pound largemouth. But I don't play with him joker on the shaky head.
Mm-mm.
I'm set.
No.
I'm ripping some lips for sure. So,
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
so I mean, so realistically, you can do both. You probably prefer to fish old school shaky head dragon worm. That's your way to do it. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. And I'm torn on it because I can scope. I can scope pretty decently. Me and Eric have gone out and he's taught me his scoping ways. But you let a fish bite the shaky head when we're out there scoping, and I'm throwing a shaky head the rest of the day. And
I can
he's
scope them with a jig. My
and
dad laughs at me all the time. I'm like, oh, look, there's a fish. I flip the jig over. I was like, there he goes. He's fixing to eat it. I've done it with a shaky head too, but eh.
we talked about it on I think the last show. I was laughing about when they were talking about on the Bassmasters when they were down at Okeechobee and they were learning that they could forward facing sonar at Okeechobee in 4 foot of water. So
Yeah.
where I'm at, the lake is average. The average depth of the lake is 4 foot. So I learned forward facing sonar with a jig on a 4 foot body of water, 4 foot deep body of water, and I'm like, y'all are just now figuring out that you can scope with a jig or a shaky head. It's like that's how I do it, or that's how I did it. I mean, that's how I
Yeah.
learned it. So yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm telling you, if they start biting a jig or a shaky head, that's what I'll be throwing the rest of the day.
Heck, I scoped them with top water this weekend on Lanier.
Well, yeah, that's so much fun. I'm telling you, I don't care. That's so much fun. So much fun. I scrolled down to the bottom of the comments because I'm bad about staying in one area, so I don't want to forget folks. I've scrolled a little bit further down, so we're going to catch some of these new comments down here.
Okay.
Eric said we got to name the new mascot. Uh, Coleman says shout out to Tony, put me on bought the geezer skedaddle walking bait and a 12-foot crankbait looks like money. I appreciate you supporting Scott with that. G4 Doug Rice said he bought two. And then Eric asked if you believed in Bigfoot. I didn't get all the way down apparently. Eric asked if you believed in Bigfoot, but I beat him to the question. All right. All right. Next. All right. Look, Fisher 2023. Next jersey is going to be a Sasquatch for you. There you go.
We can do it. Absolutely.
Is that somebody that makes your jerseys?
Yes, Fish Her makes my jerseys. It's a
Really?
woman-owned company. It's amazing.
Okay, good deal. That's awesome. So she's already working on the artwork. Then I like it
Already, she does great work.
Really good deal. And that's the name of the business is Fish Her.
Yep.
Or is she a different business name? So Fish Her is the name of the business. Okay, cool, good
Yes.
deal. Tony Hall says Bigfoot is real and Lake Lanier is haunted. There we go.
Oh my gosh, my daddy kept telling me that. He stuck his hand in the water. It was like, they're getting me. I was like, if you don't get back in this boat.
That's too funny. That is hilarious. I mean, my daughters, the first time I fished Lanier, were like, "You're going where? Do you know about Lake Lanier?" I'm like, "Get out of here with that crap. Get out of here with that. I'm not worried about no Lake Lanier." And then Eric and I go this year, and somebody passes away in Lake Lanier. He drove his car in there.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm like, or whatever. No, it was the weekend after. It's been so you get that stuff.
Well, Clark's Hill gets low enough you can see the top of the steeple of the church that they flooded.
Really?
Mm-hmm, up by Bobby Brown State Park.
That's a little creepy.
Petersburg.
Yeah, that's a little creepy. We got some names in here. Coleman, I'm not reading the name of that you put on there. I'm just not gonna do it. Not Nick's company. Drake the mascot. Drake the mascot. We got Sassy. Big Al said name it Eric. Harry. Close to our favorite bait fish, the herring. Okay, Harry the herring. We'll see. That Harry gets
That's one of my favorite That's one of my favorite Bigfoot movies, Harry and the Hendersons.
There you go. Let's see. All right, here's a good. Patricia Lynn Shaw brings this up. We were going to get there, but now we're going to talk a little about tournament fishing. I don't know if she meant this for you, but best finishing BFLs. Tell us your BFL stuff.
Let's see. It's been a minute. I fished as a boater last year, and then I took this year off to kind of focus on my local stuff and my ABA couples. So I had 4 top 10s. I had probably my best would be my 4th place finish in the regionals on Lake Norman. I came from 101st to 4th.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was fishing Lake Norman?
I liked it. I didn't have any issues. I'm not a big person on boat docks or nothing like that, but we were offshore fishing, and minus the tornado we rode through and got beat up by hail trying to get back to the boat ramp. It was nice. We enjoyed it. I had fun. Yeah. It was different. It was a different way of catching spots, but I enjoyed it.
So how did you fix that? We talked before. I'm snake bit with tournaments, and I apologize for anybody that fishes a tournament with me. I might do okay in them, and then I might not. But how did you figure out to go from 100 and what to 4th?
101st.
How did you figure that out to go from? When you say you went from 101st, was that your boat number was 101st? Like you were the 101st?
No, I was in 101st place on day one. Day one, I weighed in one fish for like 1 pound and 15 ounces.
That'll beat you in the stomach right there. That'll knock the wind out of your sail.
Yeah.
So how did you figure out to go from there to 4th?
Well, my partner on day one, he wanted to run docks. I was like, that's fine. I can flip docks. He was like, I've been catching them on top water. I was like, that's cool. I can throw top water around. That's fine. I can make changes, whatever I need to change. And I was flipping a shaky head around, and I caught that one off front of the dock. I was like, all right. So it kind of gave me a little bit of help, but that was the only one I caught, minus my boater catching a duck that I had to rescue. And the duck felt the need that in the middle of our rescue to poop all over me. So I got to fish the rest of the day covered in duck poop.
So I'm not laughing at you.
It's okay.
I'm laughing with you, even though you're not laughing.
It's okay. It's okay. You can go back and watch my whole weigh-in at BSL, and Mr. Steve was like, "I hope the duck didn't poop on you again today." So, but I was like, "All right, I can catch him on a worm." So if this guy puts me around stuff, I can catch him on a worm. Needless to say, we didn't get around anything else for me to catch him on a worm. Day 2, talked to my boater. He's like, "We're going offshore." I was like, "Perfect." I said, "Where are we going offshore?" He said, "It's a big hump." I was like, "Okay, cool." He said, "It's got stumps, rocks, all kind of stuff on it." He said, "I keep seeing them right here." I was like, "All right, perfect." He's like, "I'm gonna throw a jig." I said, "That's cool." I said, let me dig deep and pull out my Raymond Klaus special, which is my daddy. I said, "Let me do something a little different that these fish might not have seen." I pulled out a Tokyo rig. My boater was like, what is that?" I was like, "It's Tokyo rig." He said, "I have never seen such." I was like, "It's fine." I said, "You point me in the direction." I said, "You tell me where you're throwing." I said, "I'm going to throw the opposite." I said, "I'm going to throw out." I said, "You're throwing off the edge." I said, "I'm going to throw out here on the flat." He said, "Okay, that's perfect." And I commenced to waxing them fish. I had 13 and some change, and I won big fish. I had a 410 largemouth.
Nice.
Nice. All he caught was a catfish.
Now,
and I felt so bad.
Wait a minute. So he's the boater.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't think to go back and go, "You got any more of them Tokyo rigs I can throw?"
I offered. He was like, "Nope, I'm gonna stick with my jig." I said, "Okay." And he set the hook on one. I was like, "That's a good one." I said, "But I don't think it's what you want." He said, "What you mean?" I said, "I can look at the line." And it was probably about a 15-pound catfish.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet he kicked himself at the end of that day. Maybe.
He was super nice. He really was. Yeah. I waited and to go weigh in and all that stuff. He's like, "What you waiting on?" I said, I was waiting on you. I said, "I was going to help you get all your stuff." He said, "Don't worry about me." He said, "You go up there and weigh in. Come on, let's go, girl." He tote my bag up there for me. He's like, "Show them all you been." I had to pull out boat because I had a big old spot too.
Wow.
He's like, "Show both of them. Show both of them." So I had to pick up both of them and ended up being 4th and ended up being the highest co-angler for this South Carolina division. So I got an extra bonus for that, and then big fish money. So
well, that's good.
And I won the side pot fishing too. So, which that's a cool little gig if you ever jump in anything like that. Side pot's pretty cool.
Okay, so backing up just a touch, tell us a little bit about the Tokyo rig, because that's not something we talk about a whole lot. And when the reason I asked about it, when I got back into fishing in 2022, I bought my boat, and people were talking Tokyo rigs pretty big, but they weren't talking. You were reading about it. Maybe I saw it in Bassmaster. I don't know. So I went and bought me a bunch of wire. I got me a bunch of different. I got different weights from 1/4 ounce all the way up to 1 ounce. I made all kinds of tokens. Tell us a little bit about Tokyo rig, how you do it, and how do you use it? Because I gave up on it after the first few times I didn't catch nothing. I was like, I won't throw that no more. So I don't throw it anymore.
It's essentially a baby drop shot. I mean, that's the best way to explain it. It's a little tiny baby drop shot. Most of the time I'm gonna throw probably a 3/0. Usually what I throw, 3 or 4, depending on what I'm putting on. I usually pair it with a trick worm. I'm usually gonna throw either a 5/16 or a 3/8 ounce piece of tungsten. And I fish it just like I fish my jig, my worm, my shaky head. I try to see what the fish want with it. Sometimes they want you to hop it. Sometimes they want you to drag it. Sometimes they want you to do a little bit of both.
So you're casting it out there and reeling it back. You're not just treating it like a drop shot. You're fishing it. You're casting.
Yeah, I'm fishing it the whole way back. Yeah.
Basically like a jig or a shaky head then at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when do you notice, or maybe you can answer, maybe you can't, I don't know. When do you notice like it's going to work versus when it might not work? Is there anything you can say about that? Because that was the big thing with me. Because when I got back into fishing, I was a huge Texas rig guy. that's what I fished with was Texas rigs and top water. I didn't know much difference. I didn't know what a shaky head was at the time, and I had just learned jigs a few years prior. So like I said, I did it thinking, man, this is going to be great, and didn't catch squat on it. Like it didn't. I didn't produce anything like I thought I would. I mean, I've still got the wire downstairs to make more.
I really think it depends. Sometimes them fish just want something off the bottom, just a hair. I like to fish at some place that's got rock or something like that I can kick and make a little bit of racket. And usually I like to throw it somewhere that's kind of got a little bit of yuck on the bottom sometimes. It just gets it above it.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
I throw it a lot here. I throw it in brush piles here on Clark's Hill. Sometimes that's just, they want that worm to kind of just flutter around sometimes going through that brush pile. And most of the time, about 90% of the time, it comes through brush pretty good. Every now and then get hung
up. So are you buying pre-made Tokyo rigs or do you build your own?
I buy pre-made. That's just what I got confidence in. I've had a couple people make me some, but I don't like them the same.
Yeah, maybe that's what I need to do. Is I built some. I mean, I bought the swivels and I bought the wire and I bent my own. I did all that stuff myself and just put a hook on there. Which brand? What brand are you buying?
I throw the VMC.
Okay. Well, good deal. Now you're gonna have me. Now you're gonna have me doing it again because I hadn't thrown it. I hadn't thrown it in 4 years, so I'm thinking I might go back to trying that because I still see them out there. I've got some made up in the box. Some of them rusty because they sat there so long. But I see them. I'm like, I probably need to try that again, but I hadn't done it, so I may have to try that one again for sure. That's a funny one that you pulled out a Tokyo. When you said Tokyo rig, I was like, I wasn't expecting Tokyo rig to come out of your mouth for that. I really wasn't. And what year was
I
this?
did catch one on a shaky head that time. That was 20, because I qualified for 24, so that would have been 23.
Okay, so that was right around the same time I got back into fishing. When I got back into it, so I've been around the same time that the Tokyo rig was being talked about a little more back then. Yeah. And you don't hear nothing about it now. Like it was. I mean,
no.
The amount of stuff I heard about
those guys in line at Norman, what'd you catch your fish on? What'd you catch your fish on? And I told them, they'd be like, a what? I'm like, yeah, see.
A what? Would you catch them on? That's hilarious. That is too funny. Let's see here. Doug Rice talking about fishing the Wounded Warrior tournament here on Wedowee this year was one of the most satisfying events he'd ever done. That was awesome. I didn't get a chance to get in that one. And then Tom says he throws his spinner blades on mid depth on the causeway. So I don't know if he's up there around where you're at or not. All right. Blue Line Fishing says, ask her about Bobby Mulligan.
Oh my God.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
Oh.
If you want to talk about it. If not, we don't have to talk about it. He brought it up.
No, it's fine. Blue Line Fishing happens to be one of my very near and dear friends, even though he makes me want to choke him when he does things like this. My dad absolutely loves Ben Milliken. Loves him. Loves him. Wants to throw these big crazy baits like he does and catch these big giants. And so my friend Blue Line Fishing and my boyfriend have so cloyingly named me Bobby Mulligan instead of Ben Milliken. I am apparently Ben Milliken's little sister, and her name is Bobby Mulligan.
Bobby Mulligan, I like it.
Because I was out there throwing one of his big hangovers one day with them two goobers in the boat with me. And them fish knocking the fire out of it, but they was little bitty. They was just hitting him on the tail, and they were laughing at me. They're like, come on, Bobby Mulligan, you got to catch one. And so I've been Bobby Mulligan ever since.
Well, that might be a hard one for us to get past. We might be calling you Bobby Mulligan from now on.
You know what? That's fine. I've got a couple nicknames. Bobby Mulligan, the Dink Queen was the Dink Queen for a long time. Yeah, it's always something. It's always entertaining with these guys.
One thing I have found: if they're picking on you, it means they like you. If they stop talking to you, then you know you have a problem.
They're picking on me, giving somebody else a break.
Yeah, that's true too. And I'm sure, and you probably give it back to them just about as good. I'm sure they probably have some nicknames. that's what it's all about. Tom says he must fish up around. He said, "I'm mad if you're not ripping the drop shot in morning pockets." I don't know if he fishes up. I don't know if y'all got some pockets up there ripping drop shots through or not. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I'm just not a drop shot fisherman. I will if I absolutely have to, but I'd probably rather jump off the boat than have to throw it. But I mean,
Yeah,
I will. I've caught fish on it. I ain't never caught no good fish on it, but I've caught fish on it. And I've caught numbers. I mean,
yeah,
every now and then we in that tournament, and you got to have that fifth fish.
yeah. You're gonna throw whatever catches them at that point for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Eric says Lanier without a scope is about miserable, and I will say that it can be tough on Lanier without scope for sure. And then Fisher says they love you, so that's awesome. All right, so Eric asked this question pretty much every show. So, one bait forever. What is it? What are you rigging? Weight, color? Tell us all about it.
Oh gosh, one bait forever. That's hard
It's a tough
because
one.
I'm a tube bait forever.
Hey, okay, wait a minute. No, that's a good one because I got to be in the boat this weekend with somebody for the first time ever throwing a tube. I've never, still hadn't thrown it. I didn't throw it at all this weekend, but he did. So tell us about the tube, how you're rigging it, what you're doing with it. Because that's one thing. I've got 2 packs finally. I don't have the hooks yet. I've got 2 packs of tubes, and I want to start throwing a
I'm
tube
just
bait.
my dad throws well, he hasn't thrown a tube in quite some time. Usually, anytime I've seen anybody throwing a tube, it's on bedding fish. I've never really seen anybody fish it just to fish it. I mean, I don't know if I had to throw one thing for the rest of my life, it's hard. It'd be between my jig and my shaky head. I mean, I've those have both put more fish in the boat and cashed me more checks than anything I can imagine for the most part.
All right, what size? What size weight? What color? Worm.
If I'm gonna throw a
Or,
shaky head, I'm gonna throw a 5/16 stand up, probably with a green pumpkin blue trick worm.
all right. Stand up
And
with or
then
without the screw lock.
screw. It's got to be screw lock. I don't like that peg.
I hate a screw lock. I hate one.
I love a screw lock. I don't like that daggum peg. That peg, I get about 2 bites out of it, and that's it. With a screw lock, I can just keep biting the worm off and just make him shorter, and keep fishing with him.
See,
Try to get my money's worth.
I trim the head at a 45 or ish, and then I super glue it to the head, and then rig it that way. That way, it don't. It's almost like a screw lock, but it don't tear it don't tear as easy. Now, you get some good fish on there. I don't care what you put on there; it's gonna tear the head up. I don't care if
Yeah,
it's
it's
super
gonna
glue,
tear up.
screw lock, peg, whatever. But I just hadn't had as good a luck with a screw lock as I have the. But everybody's got something different. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I throw heavier. I throw quarter ounce. Hey, I was throwing Eric, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I was throwing a 5/8 this weekend, but we were fishing a lot of moving water with all them pontoons and stuff going by. So you couldn't throw a
Yeah.
quarter ounce. You had to have some weight to it, or you wasn't feeling the bottom.
Yeah, I usually my go-to about all year is gonna be a 5/16. In the summertime when I get out there on the deep brush out here on the hill, I'll probably throw a half.
Yeah, yeah. That's. I mean, I don't even know if I throw a half most time it's throwing quarter ounce, but I need to step up. I'm gonna have to get some bigger shaky heads for sure because I can definitely tell a difference. Now,
Yeah.
with the shaky head, you said green pumpkin blue. I hear that a lot. Green pumpkin blue, green pumpkin green. Everybody swears by those 2 colors. Those are like typically wherever I go, it's either green pumpkin blue, green pumpkin green. I throw watermelon candy a lot, but I also throw green pumpkin standard.
I love watermelon candy red.
Yeah,
That used to
watermelon
be
candy
my
red.
go-to. But usually for the most part, I try to be in a little bit dirtier water.
Yeah,
So usually that green pumpkin works out a little bit better for me.
yeah. I like the green pumpkin. That's my ultimate favorite's green pumpkin. But one of the bait companies that I use a lot of their worms, Full Reel Custom Lures. I'll shout them out on here. Y'all ain't check them out, please do. They pour some awesome baits. But they make a green pumpkin candy that doesn't have quite as much of the flash in it as the Zoom does. So it's got that. I'm sorry, it's green pumpkin candy. I think theirs is, and it's got the green pumpkin, but it's got a little bit of that flash in there, like your green pumpkin blue and green have in it. So you still get that same color, but it's not as flashy as a watermelon candy is. So I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's done good. But I was laughing because on Saturday, that's what the guide was throwing was he was going green pumpkin. I think he said blue. It's got to be green pumpkin blue. Well, all I had was watermelon candy. I tied on. I was catching just as I was doing just as well with my watermelon candy worms as I was the other one. So I wasn't mad about it for sure. All right, let's go. Eric again says the name of the mascot, Harry the Herring Hunter. That's a lot to say. Harry, alliteration there. Harry that's
a lot of H's.
Hunter. Yeah, that's a lot of H's to get out there. And Patricia says Strong Girl Regional is hard to make. So that's impressive. So I got a question. I know we're bouncing all over the place. I'm trying to keep up comments too. So
you're fine.
What made you decide to fish BFLs? I'm asking this for a little bit of my own reasoning behind it. But what made you decide to fish BFLs?
Well, honestly, they had one down here on Clark's Hill, and my buddy Blue Line Fishing was like, "Hey, we're gonna fish this BFL. Do you want to fish?" I was like, "Okay." This is a good opportunity for me to go and learn some new techniques, learn different ways to look at something, just for me to learn. I mean, because you can only learn, you can never stop learning fishing. Never.
Right. Somebody's
always going to teach you something. Somebody's always going to be doing something different. Somebody's always show you a different way to look at something. And I was like, this will be a good learning opportunity for me. And I stuck it out. I fished them for 3 or 4 years. I've made regionals 3 or 4 years in a row. And like I said, I made All-American. I was the only female at the All-American. I had a top 10 finish in All-American. I had that tournament in the bag, and I'm still beating myself up over that, still reliving that dream. But yeah, it is what it is. When it's your time to win, it's your time to win. I had the bites, I had the pattern, but it just didn't work out in my favor on day 3.
Okay, sorry. I was going to interrupt you for a second for a technical issue, but you were coming through clear, but for some reason you were glitching on my side, but it was clear on everything else. So we're good. We're good now. So sorry. My question. So you were the only female angler in the All-American.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is awesome. That is really that's so cool. Yeah, that's pretty badass actually. That's pretty cool. So just out of nowhere, just hey, we're gonna go fish one. That's how you got started in it. So, because the reason I asked the question because I have thought about fishing some BFLs, and I'm like, again, I don't know that I'm anywhere good enough to fish BFLs is my problem. And for me, it's one of those like, how did you get over that going? You just went and did it, or is like, did you think, hey, I'm gonna be able to do something here, or is it just like I'm just gonna go have fun?
I'm just gonna go. The first year I did it, I was like, let's just go see what it's about.
Yeah.
If you're gonna take the jump, you might as well do it. You can't just dip your toe in the water, go on and jump in head first. And I had missed the first one, but I ended up finishing the rest of the season out with him. I was like, that's pretty fun. Let's try it again and let's see if I can, up my knowledge. Let's see if I can learn some more stuff. See if somebody can teach me something else new. And that was really the whole reasoning behind it. Is I wanted to further my fishing knowledge.
Yeah. Did you feel like?
Go ahead.
Did you feel like you gained a lot of knowledge from fishing as a co-angler in the BFLs?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's stuff there's stuff some of these guys showed me that I would have never thought of. I would have never dreamed of. I'm like, how did you even come up with that? It don't even make any sense, but it works. I mean,
can you give us
some of them guys were? Go ahead.
Give me one example. Give me one example. Again, I hear people talking. I say, fish with all the people you can, but give me an example of something that you like. I never would have thought of that.
Well, so I got paired with a man named Mr. Randy. Super nice man. I really enjoyed fishing with him. This was before I ever decided to pick up a jig.
Yep.
And I watched him beat my eyes out with this jig in his hand on Lake Kiowee on clear water, throwing some crazy colored jig. I don't even remember what color it was. He was throwing a regular jig. He would throw it in there, fish it like a jig. Then he'd throw it back in there and fish it like a swim jig. Then he'd throw it back in there and he'd skip it. I mean, he was doing all kinds of stuff. And I watched this man beat my eyes out. And I was like, Mr. Randy, I said, I'm going to need some jig lessons. He said, come on, let's go. I was like, I don't even have a jig. He said, here you go, tie it on. And went from there. That I decided that I needed to further my jig education because I was a very one hit wonder type of fisherman. I was going to throw a shaky head and I was going to live or die by it. And I was like, if for me to be competitive, I need to start taking some of this stuff these guys are showing me and teaching me and doing something with it. I watched a guy catch him in 80 foot of water on a drop shot. Yeah.
Hey.
I watched a guy call him up in 95 foot of water on a cane walker. I mean, it's stuff you wouldn't imagine doing, but you have to look at the places the way these guys did, and they showed me what they were looking for, what they were looking at, and I was like, all right, every little piece. I mean, just every little nitpicking piece of knowledge. Yeah. Every little thing you can learn is a positive note. I mean, even if you did terrible in the tournament, you learned. You had 8 hours with this guy for him to teach you everything that he does.
Right. That's obviously. So you fished. How many years did you fish as a co-angler?
4, I think.
4 years.
4. Yeah.
Okay. And you've done it how many years as a boater?
I did 1 year as a boater.
1 year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's how was the transition from going from co-angler to boater? How did you like that?
It was all right. I didn't have any issues with it because me coming from the back of the boat. I'm very aware of what's going on, where the boat's sitting, how it's sitting, making sure that my guy in the back had opportunity to throw at stuff, telling him where things were, structure, or if I saw fish on the scope, be like, hey, they're over here, throw at them, stuff like that. I was very aware of what was going on at all times because I know what it's like to be in the back of a boat with somebody who does not care at all.
Yeah.
And it's not fun.
Right.
Luckily for me, I've had very few of those. I've probably had 2 in my entire career. And I lucked out with that. And, but like I said, coming from the back of the boat and going to the front, I feel like it teaches everybody a little bit better manners. And I think everybody that wants to fish BFL needs to fish in the back of a boat for one season. So they'll learn that it's not fun for you to be ugly to whoever's in the back of your boat.
It's funny you say that because I never owned a bass boat until 2022 when I bought my first one. And so I've always been back of the boat guy. That I don't care. I like catching fish from the back of the boat as much as I like catching from the front. But I found myself struggling during tournaments, in team tournaments, because I'm like you. I'm overly aware of how the boat's sitting, and I'm like, I could probably catch this fish here if I was just more greedy in the way I fished. But I can't stand that feeling of being of even thinking that I'm backboating somebody. Like it drives me. I would rather attack everything sideways. You could put 2 trolling motors on that boat for me, and I'd be almost happy in a team tournament or something like that. In which fishing out of my boat's a little different than fishing out of your boat. Mine's a 91 Ranger. You can't fish 2 people in the front of the boat in the older boats. So the newer boats work a little better. So I think that's my biggest concern going to fishing BFLs is because you have to be, you don't have to be, I guess, but to be a decent human, I think you almost need to be aware of the person in the back of the boat. That they're spending their money just as like you are, you're spending yours too. So that makes good sense. I mean, that's kind of why I asked it that way, is how was the transition? Because it can be tough being in the back of the boat, but it can be almost as tough if you're decent, like you're saying you are, wanting to make sure that person in the back is fishing good. You have to give up some stuff in order to make that happen sometime. And absolutely, that says a lot about your character with that too, because a lot of folks are just like, nope, it's all about me, and that's what I'm gonna do. So
I don't have time for that. We're not fishing against each other. I want you to do just as well as I do. That's all a bunch of nonsense to me. That's just little, I don't want to say boys, but little boys who didn't get beat as children.
Didn't get beat as children. I like it. And then Blue Line says, when you come up to Russell, Ashley and I will take you out. I'm gonna take y'all up on that now for real, because I'm coming to Russell. Y'all, I'm writing it down in my book. Y'all just be ready. I'm coming to Russell. I'm dragging my boat up there. Sounds like fun. All right. All right. So the Tokyo pre-made rigs come with weights. If not, what kind did you use?
So the VMC ones that I throw, they don't come pre-made, or they don't come with weights already rigged. Most of the time, I'm gonna grab a piece of tungsten. It's probably gonna be either 5/16 or 3/8. That's just what I like to throw. It's what I'm comfortable with.
Makes sense. I didn't know they didn't come. I thought they come with weights on. I don't buy. I hadn't bought a pre-made.
Some
one
of
yet,
them
so.
do. I think like the Bass Pro Shop brand does. I think they're called bonsai rigs. They come with weights already.
Okay.
I just know the VMC doesn't.
Gotcha. Alex Purrs in the comments. What's going on, buddy? I know I'm a little behind on those comments for sure. I'm way behind, I guess. I don't know. Let's see here. Stupid tube hook by Blue Rock Tackle. Best setup for keeping them on. I'm with Ashley. Shaky head. All right. And then Alex says, "How about Sandy Cooper? You fish Sandy Cooper at all?"
I have. I did fish a BFL up there for the South Carolina division. I finished 38th with one fish for 510. Wow. That's probably one of the toughest places I've ever fished, just because everything looks so dang good. Like, yeah. I don't know where to go. Oh, look, that grass looks good. Let me throw it at home and out. Look at these trees. Those trees look even better. I mean, it's just, there's so much water to cover and so much structure. It's just.
And then you get folks out there making it look easy. You're like, what the heck are you doing?
Exactly.
That's one lake I hadn't had a chance to fish that one yet. It's on my bucket list to do, but I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'll tell you, I'm not shy. If I go to Santee Cooper, I'm hiring a guide the first trip. I'm just gonna do it. I don't care.
I enjoyed it. It's a little sketchy.
Yeah.
To run if you don't know where you're going. Like I said, that BFL I fished, the guy I got paired with, he was like, all right, we're gonna run to the other lake. I was like, okay, cool. You know how to get there? He was like, no. I was like, have you ever run this lake before? He was like, no. I was like, do you have a map? He said, no. I was like, great. I was like, hold on, I got Navionics on my phone. I whipped the phone out. I was like, look, you drive, I tell you where to turn. The wind was probably blowing about 15 mile an hour too. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
And it's poles. You got to run that run lane. Mm-hmm. If you ain't running fast enough, you're gonna get past or run over. So I managed to navigate us from John C. Landon safely to the diversion canal. Holding my rods, holding on to me, and navigating with my phone.
Wow. Yeah. I've seen some of those videos, those guys trying to make it back to weigh in and stuff like that, cutting across that lake or wherever they're at. And you're not doing that easy if you don't know where you're going.
No, absolutely not. It is slap full of trees. It's very, make you kind of go,
There you go. All right. So the avid outdoorsman says, I know this lady. The avid outdoorsman. And it says, she won't admit I outfish her a lot of the time, though. Love you, honey.
Oh, my God. Ain't there something you could be doing? Avid outdoorsman. You're so corny.
That in his defense, that was 9 minutes ago. I'm way behind on the comments, apparently.
Oh.
But then Eric, wait a minute. Patricia says, girl is badass, boys. Is she telling y'all? Is she saying badass? I like it. But Eric had a question. If you and avid outdoorsman go fishing, who drives the boat, and do you both have your own boat?
I drive the boat because I make the payments on the boat.
There you go. I like it.
He drives sometimes, though. Sometimes I'll be like, I want to be a passenger princess. Will you please drive? And he'll ride me around for a little while, and then he'll get tired of me. He'll be like, get over here and drive your boat.
That's too funny. He did say that she drives. I just provide some entertainment. LOL.
Yeah, he does. He is entertaining.
So, all right. one of the things that we put in the post that I put in the post, because I went back and made sure on your Facebook that you had announced it. You're making a jump, or you're going to try to make a jump. I don't want to put nothing in stone for you. Tell us
Yeah.
about what's coming up in the future for you.
We are going to attempt to jump in some Bassmaster Opens. I think I can compete with these guys. I think I can compete with a few females that are doing it. And I just want to go out there and give it my best shot. And I don't want to go to work anymore. I want to go fishing every day. If I can figure out a way to make that happen, then that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try our best to anyway.
So, what division are you going to fish?
I guess it would be the Southern. I think it was Division 1 this year. The one down here that they had, it was Eufaula, Norman, I think Okeechobee, and now they're running all the way to New York for whatever crazy reason. So I think it's going to be that division.
I got you. So I'll be honest with you. I hate to say it, doing a fishing podcast, I don't keep up with the opens like I should, especially when they change the format. I just don't. I'm not as smart when it comes to that as far as the format goes. So you have to fish. You have to fish in your division, and how do you have to finish in order to potentially move on from that?
So I think for you to get an Elite Series berth, if I read correctly, you have to fish all divisions. If I remember right, I could be wrong. So if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But I do believe for you to get an Elite Series berth, you have to be top 10 total, I believe.
Well, I think you finish your division. You have to finish. You have to finish somewhere in your division to be, and it's a qualifier, if I'm not mistaken.
That might be what it is, to go to the EQs. That might be how it was. Yeah, to go to the EQs.
That's where they lost me when it comes to that.
Yeah, and then I think is if you win, you still have to fish all of your division to be qualified for the Classic. Like I said, I haven't read that part of the rules. I was reading the kind of important part of the rules that I don't want to break that gets me disqualified. So I hadn't kind of jumped into that part of them yet.
So you're basically right now you're in your planning stages for making this jump. But if the cards fall right, you're definitely making that jump into that. And what does it take, number one, monetarily to fish the opens? Because I don't keep up with the opens. Like I said, what do you got to have? What's the tournament cost?
$2,000 entry fee.
Oh, just $2,000.
Yeah, just pocket change.
My wife would turn 3 shades of white if I told her I was fixing to spend $2,000 on a tournament.
Yeah, I've had a couple people look at me like I have lost my mind, but we'll see. Like I said, it's in the planning stages now. If the cards fall right and it's meant to be, it'll be. If not, we'll step back and punt and plan again for next year. See if we can get it together.
Hang on, I want to take 1 second here because Crankin' Yankin showed up. He said, "Hey, Scopers," and he has missed one of the most non-scope talk conversations we've had in a long time. So, Crankin', you're getting here at the back. You're getting here on the last quarter of almost a non-scope show. So, you're welcome. You're welcome. We've talked shaky heads. We've talked Tokyo rigs that like Eric said earlier, I didn't have that on my bingo card. We've talked jigs, spinner baits. We talked a little bit of everything there. So anyway, sorry. I had to make that pause every minute to make sure he got recognized. One of the most least talked about scoping shows we've had so far. So $2,000 to get into the each tournament. You got to fish how many?
4.
5, 4. So you're $8,000 just in tournament fees, not counting gas, not counting lodging, not counting anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but you got to do good. You don't have to do good, but like you want to do good. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, we want to go and not suck.
Yeah, I mean, so you said a minute ago there's some other ladies that are going to fish it. Do you know some of those ladies that are actually going to fish it? They fish in your same division?
I know that Anastasia Patterson, she fishes. She's from Santee, I believe. And I do believe that there's one other lady that fishes, but I can't think of her name off the top of my head. But I know Anastasia Patterson. She fishes them.
Yeah. I follow her a little bit here and there. I just have started following her name, and I started following some of the stuff she does too.
Yeah.
Because I saw I think it was a funny TikTok or a reel today that she posted. That she's basically saying that everybody thinks she's just a dedicated fisherman's wife, and she's the one that's actually doing the fishing out there. So I thought that was pretty funny. All right. Avid Outdoorsman has, however, said, while she's been on this podcast, I went 100 yards down the road and caught 5 bass on Clark's Hill for 23 pounds from the bank on a fluke.
He's so full of crud. He don't even have a scale. It's in the boat.
He don't even have a scale. Not the fact that he didn't catch 5 for 23s. He don't even have a scale to weigh them with. So.
No, he's so full of crud.
Oh, my goodness. That's too funny. That's too funny. And then Coleman says you have to be in the top 10 in the EQs.
Okay. So, that's what it is.
There we go. All right. Now, Eric's got a little personal question. What's your day job that's paying for your fishing addiction?
I am a chemical operator. I make fertilizer.
There you go.
I work 12-hour rotating swing shifts. It's lovely.
You had me at swing shift. I like swing shifts when I was in law enforcement, but rotating swing shifts, that don't sound like fun.
Well, I'm on my if you break it down, I really only work 6 months out of the year. I work 14 days a month. Like I said, and I'll work for 4 days in a row, then I'll be off for 7 in a row, and like I'm on my 7-day break now. I go back to work. I'm supposed to go back Friday night, but I go back Thursday night. I got some overtime to cover.
That's not too bad outside of what I would mind doing. That when I was in law enforcement, it was 3 on, 2 off, 2 on, 3 off. So I didn't get the 7 days. I got them, broke up, but. Yeah. I always liked the swing shift like that. The folks I work with hated it. I'm like, y'all crazy. We get half a month off. Why would you hate that? You're not working. Yeah. But 4 days on, 7 days off, I could deal with that. That would not be a terrible thing. Of course,
it kind of changes a little bit. That 1 day off is where it kind of gets you. You'll work a Friday, Saturday, Sunday day, then you'll be off Monday. Then you go back to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night.
Yeah, see, that's where I would have the problem. When you went to that rotating stuff, that's where
that little 1 day off kind of gets you sometimes.
Yeah, because all that 1 day off is to get you prepared for your crap shift that's coming up.
Yep.
I mean, that's all it's for. Is to change your sleep pattern so that you won't be late to work or miss the shift altogether. So I'm good. Eric said his wife would not be shocked to hear him paying $2,000 to get a tournament. Yeah. My wife wouldn't be shocked if I said I want to do it. She'd be shocked for the fact that, like, okay, dummy, where are you going to come up with $2,000 per tournament? And you're not that good at tournaments, Tony. So that's where she would be shocked at, like, for sure. And then Patricia Leanne Shaw says the EQs are $3,500. So do they jump up? They jump up once you get the EQs, I guess.
I haven't looked at the entry fee for the EQs. So.
Well, you better get on that because we're going to wheel you into that. We're going to wheel you
through Lord.
The first part into that part and be done with it. That way you can just go ahead and write it down, put it in a book somewhere. Tony Collins on the Weigh In podcast says she's going to make it through to the EQs, top 10, and then on from there.
Oh Lord! So you put a lot of faith in me.
Hey, listen, you got to speak it into existence. I am a firm believer in that. I mean, because we can get negative on ourselves real quick, but one thing I've learned is if you're positive about it, even if you stink the first year, just stay positive with it. You'll be fine. It'll all work out. Like you said, you're going to learn something along the way and all that stuff too. I mean, heck, you get guys that go do it the first year. There's no reason you can't do it the first year for sure. Of course, then that's when the real work starts because unlike what everybody thinks, and I know you're at that point we talked about a minute ago, getting $2,000 for a tournament. That's the hard part is getting the money, is convincing businesses that, they should put faith in you or whoever to put faith in you. So obviously if you guys are own a business out there and looking to sponsor a fisherman to go to the EQs, to go on to the elites, Miss Klaus is looking for folks. So we'll get into that for a second. How has that process been? Have you started that process, like reaching out to folks and trying to start raising that capital?
Yeah, I have spoke with the couple of guys that work with me now. I've spoke with them. They said that we just got to sit down and chit chat and get talks going. But none of them have told me no. My Fisher family has started an auction for me. They're auctioning off one of their custom weigh bags. and trying to raise a little bit of money that way.
So where do we find that auction at? Because I saw that auction pop up, but where do we find that auction at?
It'll be on the Fish Her Facebook page. You can go to my page. It's public profile. It's posted on there. If you go to Fish Her's page, it's pinned at the top.
Okay.
It's dollar bid. It's dollar increments on the bid. And even if you don't want to bid, if you just share it, somebody else might want to. And like I said, if you don't want to bid, share the post. If you don't even want to do that, you can message me directly, and we can. And if you want to help that way, we can set something up.
Yep. So I thought that's how it was going, but I wasn't 100% sure because I saw the Facebook post that you shared, and I went on there and looked at it. And when I looked at it, it done got up there pretty good. I mean, like it wasn't.
I think we're at $75 on that bag.
That's a good deal. Yeah. So y'all go Fish Her Facebook page, check out that pin post. If you want to donate, that would be great because that'll help get somebody to the EQs or to the Opens for the first season. That'd be awesome. And then Crankin says my son works a schedule like that, 6 and 6 and 6 and 6 sucks with 4 kids. Absolutely, that's a rough shift.
I can imagine.
And then Lee says shift work for life. I work that same schedule. And then Crankin says he'd have to sell a kidney to go to the Open. So I'm right there with you, buddy.
I've debated that. I don't really need both of them. But I don't really know how much the one I got's worth because it's kind of used.
Yeah, well, that's and then Eric says, tell us about that jig. That's a good color. You flashed that jig a couple times. You got wondering about the jig now.
I'm over here tinkering. So
there you go.
This is one of my my sponsors that helps me out a lot. I got one in the package. This is actually a custom color that he did.
Who's the sponsor? Who is it? Give him a shout out.
Shift Worker Lures.
Shift Worker Lures. Okay.
Yep. He makes jigs. You can find him online. You can find him on Facebook. I believe they have a TikTok page. But
okay.
He makes my absolute favorite jig. It's called this color's called Goober Grape. It's a purple.
Called what now?
Goober Grape.
Goober Grape. Okay, I thought I heard that right.
Yeah. But the funny thing about this jig is there's no weed guard.
Yeah, I see that.
You take and you rig it. It's got a screw lock, which you hate. So, but you take it, you screw your bait in, and you Texas rig them. So it's virtually weedless.
Jig heads are different with the screw lock. I don't mind those as much. There's another jig that I used to use that's how it's rigged. And I love the way those rig up just like that. That's actually pretty cool.
But about 90% of the time, I can throw this jig in dang near anything, and it's gonna come back. Versus me buying other brands of jigs, and I'm losing 5 to 6 a night. But that's a Goober Grape. That's my go-to color. This is one he customized for my dad. It's going to be purple orange with brown living rubber.
Okay.
So my dad prefers the living rubber over silicone. I like to throw silicone skirt. But this is wire tied. He does a great job. He ships all over the United States. And this is just something he started in the last couple of years. He wanted to make a jig that you could get back and that catches fish. And this thing catches the mess out of fish.
Does he have what other offerings does he have on his product line there? Because you got me interested now.
Yeah, he makes a black and blue. He makes a green pumpkin.
Strictly
brown.
jigs, or does he do shaky heads or anything like
No,
that?
he just does jigs right now. They're going to work on extending the line some, but he just released a football head jig too. So
okay, that's right up my alley too. I like that.
Yeah,
I like it a lot. And then my wife's in the comments. I knew as soon as we started talking about entry fees, she'd pop up. She said, "I would just stand at the boat ramp and collect your money and bring it back home for us." That's how she does. I told you earlier. I said if I'm on fish tournament, she's like, "Why don't you just let me take your money before you go fishing? You come back home and I'll give you $100 and you've got your money for the night." I'm like, "Well,
it makes sense."
Well, for me, it definitely makes sense because I'll go out there and come in second, 1 pound off, and like not win anything.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's the closest I've been to winning a tournament. Well, not the closest I've been. Well, yeah, the closest I've been to winning a tournament was a jackpot tournament with winner take all, and I had it down to the last 30 seconds.
Oh, I hate that.
they made last call for fish, and the guy goes, "I got fish." His big fish was 1 pound heavier than my big fish, and he took it with
Dang.
like 12 pounds, and I had 11 or something like that. I'm like, come on.
I
But
hate
yeah,
that.
so it's part of it. And then we fished towards my buddy Dave and I fished towards for tots, and we got beat by Emil Wagner. We ended up in third, but Emil and them beat us with 1 pound, a little bit over a pound than what we had. But, we still got a nice payday. We had a big fish though, so we got that for the tournament. But Avid Outdoorsman says, I work the same schedule. She and I are off the same days, and I've worked the 2-2-3s schedule as well. This one is way better. Yeah, see, I'm thinking, again, the schedule's not bad. It's the doggone swing, the rotate part of it that I would just not die, but me and nights never got along. I'm not a night guy, nighttime fisherman or nighttime worker type thing on that. Sorry, I'm making my screen decide it was going to self dim for some reason, y'all. I apologize. I don't want to forget the TikTok folks. And the way TikTok's set up now, I can't read y'all's comments. It shows up at the very bottom, and it blends in with everything else on the screen. So I apologize, TikTok. It's hard to read y'all's comments on the phone. All right, Eric's asked this question twice now, so I'm going to go with it. What made you pick a Skeeter over any other boat?
Okay, so I came, my first big girl boat, I came out of a 99 TR21. Old Big Bertha.
That was in good boat. That was good holes back in them days, wasn't it?
Yeah, she'd fly. She'd absolutely fly, but it was it had a 225 EFI on it, so that automatically meant $200 every time you took the boat to the lake.
Yep.
But with my dad getting older and stuff, I wanted something that was wider on the front so I could get up there and help him if he needed, or so I could stand up there and fish with him, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy that had a ZXR that he let me ride in, and I just fell in love with the boat. And there's a local dealer right here. I went and found the one I wanted, picked the color out. I wanted a 21 foot. He's like, "We'll get you 21 foot in this color," and that's what we did. And I haven't had any issues. I love that boat. She rides good. She handles everything for the most part. I haven't had any issues out of my show other than the known T2 prop issue, which has now been alleviated.
Now, what was that issue? Tell me, because I'm not familiar with that.
The T2s were cast really bad, so they were known to throw ears. And mine made it. She made it a long time before she threw one. So
yeah.
But
So is there what's one thing? Again, I'm always asked because I'm wanting to eventually buy a boat, and I hope my wife's not in the comments anymore. But I'm wanting to buy a new boat, because the 91 Ranger is great, but it's not the perfect boat by any means. So what's one thing about the Skeeter that you dislike?
That I dislike?
Yeah, that you dislike. One thing. Is there one thing that you like? Man, I wish it did something different, one way or the other. Because I see a lot of Skeeters. I see a lot of folks in Skeeters.
Yeah.
You may not have anything. If you don't, that's fine. I'm always asking one thing negative about it, because I call it what do they call it? It's like money spent bias. Everybody likes everything they buy because they spend money on it. So I'm always asking, all right, tell me one bad thing, just so I know.
I really haven't had any issues out of mine. I really haven't. No,
that's fine. No, that's fine. I'm like I said, everybody's got something different, because like Eric's got nitro, and I didn't think I was gonna like a nitro until I rode in his nitro. It's a really nice boat. Really runs really good, runs fast, gets on plane quick. The only thing I don't like about his boat, seat sits a little higher. So I feel like
I don't like sitting that high.
When we take a dang wave sideways, I feel like my big butt's gonna rise up and leave the boat, but it rides really well. It does really good, because I've been in some older nitros that I thought we were fixed to come apart in. I mean, they've changed them up very much so. So I always ask, like, I've been in several Skeeter. My buddy John Cox out of Georgia, he fishes out of a Skeeter, and I've been in his boat several times, and it's a good riding boat. It does everything it's supposed to do. I mean, I can't say anything. The only thing I ever noticed about the Skeeter, I run cameras. I don't know if you film at all. I run cameras.
Yeah, I do a little bit.
And the way the Skeeter sets up, it almost puts the camera at an angle on the back of the boat. So you have to adjust that. But again, I've got
the little stick I have to move mine around on.
That's a stupid problem. That's a small problem. That's just one thing I
Yeah.
noticed because I film a lot, so that's not even a big deal. Um,
Yeah.
so Lee says that's the LSD 1/2 ounce jig and is one of the most innovative jigs on the market.
That would
What
be
makes
your
it?
owner that's talking to you now.
Oh, so he's the owner of it.
Yes, he
Okay.
owns this company.
Well, he's got, and again, I'm not blowing smoke, but you definitely got me very interested in it because I came from putting jigs together, not myself just buying off the shelf, putting stuff together, to buying the one with the screw lock in the head. And I really liked it, but I didn't like the jig head per se as much as some of the stuff I'm using now. So it definitely got me interested in that screw lock design with the bait being the weed guard, not the weed guard, because one of the things I don't like about some of the baits are the weed guards. Because I'm
Yeah,
a
well,
tinker.
when that fish bites it, when has he ever bit something that felt like a weed guard?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, makes sense to
When
me.
he bites, he's biting down on the soft plastic. There's no hard bristles in his way or anything like that. And I feel
Well,
like
I
a
mean,
hookup ratio is a lot better with this too than a traditional jig.
I can definitely see that being a possibility. And see, my thing with the weed guards is, what is the first thing most guys do with a weed guard? They trim it.
Cut it. Yeah.
I mean, and if I'm cutting it, then I'm changing. And it just, for me, and I've lost a crap ton of jigs in brush piles or rocks or whatever. So definitely got me interested in the jig head design for sure. I like that. I like that look. You don't see it a lot. And Lee says, rig it up, Ashley, and let him see it. You got a piece of soft plastic there you can put on there?
All I got's a tamale. I don't have a creature bait with me. I didn't grab one.
We're starting to get a little glitchy on your end for some reason now.
Uh-oh.
You're freezing
Oh
up
no,
when you work.
my internet's running out. I gotta go pay some more money.
Uh-oh. Well, listen, we ain't gonna keep you. If that's the case, we won't keep you much longer then. But no, Lee, I do like the look of that bait. I do like the look of it for sure. I'm a jig junkie. When I say junkie, at one point I was buying $75 a week in jig heads because I knew I was going to lose 12 a week. So I'm always looking at different jig makeups for sure. So I like it. What's going on, Silverpunk? Yeah, you're getting here real late, buddy. And then Fisher says she can't wait. So they're looking forward to you making that run. And then it says that LSD covers a large hook. LSD covers a large hook. So I guess he knows about the jigs. I don't know. So what size hook is in that jig head you got there?
Look, I don't make these. I buy them.
You just buy them?
Yeah. But I mean, I like that it's a heavier wire hook. It's not a light wire hook at all. And that's something else I like about it. Yeah. It's not a little thin hook.
Because we've talked about it on, and yes, I can see that very well. That's good. We talked about it on the live well when I was co-hosting or running the boards about different hooks and stuff. And something I learned the hard way, I was buying Boss jigs off of Tackle Warehouse, and I was putting my own skirts on it. I was buying the skirt material and all that stuff. And I was buying light wire and playing around with light wire. Well, in the wintertime, you get a spotted bass, they can actually clamp down on that line so tight that when you go to set the hook, you think you're setting the hook really well, and you're not. And those light wire hooks flex just enough that I've lost some nice spotted bass because of light wire hooks. So I like the fact that it's got a nice thick, hook in there for sure. And then Lee come back and said half ounce is a 5/0, 3/8 ounce is a 4/0. So what do you got there? Half ounce or 3/8?
This is a half. I throw half.
So you got the 5/0 hook in this. You got the big boy hook. That's the big one.
Yeah.
Which a 4/0's not nothing to laugh at. That's a good hook too.
No.
I mean, I've thrown down to the 3/0. So yeah, I like that a lot. I like that. Like I said, I said I didn't like screw locks, but that was on shaky heads. I like it on the jig heads. I like it a lot on there. Got no problem with that one. And then Silverpunk says here late because the shad spawn. So yeah.
Oh.
Excuses, man. Excuses. No, we talked about it when the show started. We said we'll have a few people. It'll be latecomers of the show because it's still daylight when we start the show. So they're out there fishing for sure. And then Tom said that looks good, Lee. So we appreciate it. Thank you for showing us the jig head, because that you might get some folks in here doggone. That's how you get sponsors for your opens. You start shouting. So who else? See, Fish Her, and then the jigs. What's the name? Shift Worker Jigs. What's the name of it again?
Yep, it's Shift Worker Lures.
Shift Worker Lures. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So those are your two sponsors right now.
Well, I have a couple others. Like I said, Shift Worker, they do stuff with my jigs. I aggravate him all the time, getting him to make me stuff on the fly when I run out of something, and he's excellent at it. You can find him online on Facebook, shiftworkerlures.com. And then Fish Her, she makes all my jerseys. She makes my weigh bags. She makes tackle bags. She makes backpacks. She makes hoodies. Anything you could think of, she does. And she does excellent work. I've been with her for a few years now. She makes all my tournament jerseys.
Okay.
And then Number One Tackle. Number One Tackle was my very first sponsor I ever had. They're a little mom and pop tackle shop in North Augusta, South Carolina.
Yep.
They were the first people to ever take a chance on me. And that I've been with them ever since. I think I've been with them probably 7 years. I love them to death. Mr. Dean and Dustin and Mama, they're great people. Anything you need, you could think of, they can order it. He does all of my hats. They're big embroidery shop. They do amazing work on hats. They do shirts and stuff like that too. They've taken care of me forever. They actually have my check from Norman. They gave me a big cardboard check. They actually have it put up in the tackle shop. And then I had another one jump on with me a couple years ago, Haddon Outdoors.
Okay.
It's like a baby Hammond's.
Yeah, we've had who was that we had on here? Y'all tell me it's oh doggone it. Spot Chaser, I think was talking about Haddon, wasn't he? I think we had Spot Chaser and talking about Haddon Outdoors. I think that's who we had. But
he is right at the lake. He's less than a mile from one of the major boat ramps we used to put in at Wildwood. And it's Fisherman's Paradise in there. He has everything you could think of, all the latest and greatest. Super awesome guy. He helps me whenever I need. Like I said, if I got something crazy I need ordered, he takes care of me.
There you go.
And I'm a mom and pop person. I know some of these people, they want the big box stores and stuff like that, and the big box stores have money on stuff, but I want to support local. I want to shop small, and I want to represent my little town and my companies.
Absolutely. Well, when I started in it, of course, I was going to the big box places buying stuff, and I've slowly weeded myself down as far as I can. I try to do like you. I try to support, and that's one reason I talked about Geezer on here, because he's a small business. I mean, that makes a difference with us fishermen. If we're using a product from a small brand versus going and buying like, look, I ain't gonna lie. I used to throw a Berkeley cane walker like nobody's business, but when I got a hold of the Geezer one, I'm all about that one. That kind of thing. Yeah. So it's important to support the small businesses like that. And like I said, I was buying from Tackle Warehouse, buying Boss jigs, and I've still got a handful of them. But there's a couple other jig makers that I've used that I like their stuff. They're smaller stuff. And Eric just said, "All right, Lee, I've ordered 4 of them." That's the one thing about this show is got out of bait. There are gonna be some folks in there buying it for sure. That's huge. I mean, for the sponsor, that's why I say shout them all out. We love it. We love it on here for sure. And Lee said thanks.
Thank you for ordering. But one of my other a buddy of mine, like, he doesn't even sponsor me. He makes me stuff when I ask him for crazy things, and without him, I wouldn't have done so well at Lanier. And he's a local. He's not local to me, but he's from Cleveland, Georgia, and that's what caught me all my fish on Lanier the other day. Besides, I'm a skimmer. It's a tamale. It's Trickster brand? Custom Baits. Trickster Custom Baits. Yeah, it's hand poured stuff he does. It's just a 5 1/4 inch tamale, and that's what I put that on that shaky head and went to fishing brush piles and went to whacking them on it. Once that top water bait died. But this is the one I call them on. It's called Sweet Baby Candy.
Sweet Baby Candy.
And you can pick these up at Hammond's. And you can order them online.
So they've got them at Hammond's?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And Alex Purr says Benji. Is that who makes Trickster?
Yep.
Benji?
Yep.
And
Benji Winkler. He's super awesome.
Name of the company one more time. Trickster
Custom Baits.
Trickster Custom Baits. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Ain't no way you ain't heard." Alex says, "Ain't no way you ain't heard of Trickster, Tony." Listen, I see stuff all over, but I hadn't never bought any of their stuff. So I'll be the first to admit I've never bought any Trickster stuff. I had never heard of them. So
he makes good
sorry
stuff.
about that,
He makes
Alex.
a little bit of everything. He
Yeah.
makes a really awesome green pumpkin blue too.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
my friends
Eric
at Haddon Outdoors, they have the magic that everybody's after, and you can order online from Haddon Outdoors too. They got the ones everybody wants.
Oh, there you go.
The ones that everybody's going crazy for. The chartreuse heron.
I got you. And let's see. Patricia Lanshaw says a Tokyo and a Koiki is a Toiki. There you go. Alex says Trickster and a spot choker. So he's already got the juice on Trickster and spot choker. So I've never used Trickster. I'll have to check them out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then Eric says Jeff Nail fishes a ton of the tamales on Lanier.
Yep.
I'm gonna check out Trickster, y'all. I'll have to check them out for sure. Trickster's a cool company, is what Silverpunk says. I like it.
Benji makes excellent stuff.
I'll check them out for sure. I like stuff like that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I may have heard of them. I just didn't really. I just don't remember it. There's so many different ones I see. So I don't ever want to leave anybody out. But I'll check them out for sure. All right, so we're getting towards the end of the show. Real quick, where are you fishing at? And other than Russell, what's the next tournament you got going on?
Oh gosh, what's today? I don't even know what today is. I do believe if I remember right, I have David Stout Outdoors is doing an all-female tournament on Hartwell on June 7th. I think that's going to be my next little tournament that I go fish.
And who was throwing that?
David Stout Outdoors.
David Stout Outdoors, all-female tournament. Mm-hmm. Good deal. He says on Hartwell.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see the results of that. That's pretty cool. That'd be awesome. That's going to be a pretty good one right there. So, and how do they know about how big the turnout's going to be for that? I mean, I know it's a tournament; it could be anything. But is it getting pretty good publicized?
Yeah, he does a good job promoting. I don't know how many will show up. You never know. You know how women are. We like to make decisions at the last minute. We never know what we're going to do.
That's guys. That's I think that's fishermen in general. I don't think it's anything to do with. I guess all of us are that way. I mean. We talked to, we had, Keller on here. We had her on here, and she was like, they had 3 boats show up at that first one they did. That's why I want to make sure if we can promote it, we get it out there, because I'd like to see, a huge turnout for a women's only tournament, because you just don't hear about it a lot.
He ran one the other day while I was out of town at Lanier, so I didn't get to make that one, but I think he had 6 or 7 boats for that one.
Y'all shout it out, put it out there on social media. We need to share that around and get it out there to everybody. Make sure we get it on the Fish North Georgia. They get, we got the tournament page. We've got all different stuff we can put that on. We need to make sure we get a whole. I'll look that up when we get off the show and start trying to share that out some. I'd like to see that get a huge turnout for everybody involved, because that's huge. I mean, as a girl dad and a girl granddad, my daughter called me today. She goes, "What are you doing? Are you doing the show tonight?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, okay." She goes, your granddaughter wants to go fishing. And I said, "Well, it's kind of hot." And in the background, this 4-year-old girl goes, "We can fish when it's hot, Paw." So, we're going to be on the boat one day this week fishing before this rain sets in, because I got to take her fishing. So I'm huge on getting everybody in on the all the ladies in, all the girls in that we can get them fishing and stuff. And
absolutely
get them in the high school teams too. That's huge for them. Benji's a great guy, good old country boys. What Avid Outdoorsman said, good people. Lee says, "Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Tony, for the podcast." Absolutely. It wouldn't be possible without you, the viewers, and y'all being on here, and Ashley taking the time to shout out some good baits and stuff. I'm looking forward to buying me some jigs for sure. And then last question of the night, because we're right there at the 1 minute mark here. Silverpunk wants to know, where are all the big spots on Russell? All I ever catch are barely keepers. So give him some juice if you can.
I usually put in around 72 range. I usually stick out a ram a lot. Like I said, all those pylons out there, bridges, I've caught some pretty decent fish. Where else do I like to go? There's a couple shoal markers right past the train trestle bridge right there at 72 ramp that I've done fairly well on. It's a big hump comes up and it's full of rocks and they like to school right there. I've caught them pretty good right there too.
Good deal.
And we've
There you
caught
go,
decent
Silver
ones all over there. So
That's some good. Hey, that's some good juice right there. At least get you some areas for fishing for sure. Well, I really appreciate it. It's been a great show. Nice to hear, learn about you a little bit more, and we're gonna root for you in the opens because that's a huge
yeah,
deal. Whether you know it or not, we're gonna do our best to get you there, and we'll pull for you the whole way through. Y'all go check out Fish Her on Facebook. They got the weigh bag on sale or on auction because now I'm interested since she makes weigh bags. Another question: is that weigh bag got the mesh liner in it?
it does not. It does not have the liner, but it's got the
Oh,
handles and it's got a shoulder strap.
there you go. Good deal.
So
We don't use the mesh liner anyway. I mean, some of us, you have to put it in their mesh liner so
yeah.
you can weigh them in. So, all right, good deal. Well, y'all go support her sponsors. Y'all go support her. Where can they find you on social media?
Ashley Klaus, I have a TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. What else? I think that's it.
There you go.
It's
All
not
right,
hard to find me. My name's not a super common name, so it ain't hard to find me. It'll be a picture of some girl holding a fish, probably.
there you go. Perfect. Well, Ashley, I really appreciate it. Great show. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thanks for reaching out to me. Love to have you back on. We'll get you back on. Maybe when you win one of those opens, we'll get you back on and really get shouted out for sure.
We'll see. Fingers crossed.
No, we're gonna keep fingers crossed. We're gonna do our best to get you there. I really appreciate you taking the time, guys. Thank y'all for stopping by in the comments. Y'all kept a good group, good comments going all night tonight. Great interaction. Y'all be careful if you're fishing this week. We're supposed to be getting some rain coming in. I know we all still want to fish, but I saw where they were looking for somebody on was it Lanier or somewhere today. I saw they were looking for somebody. So y'all just be careful out there on the water. Wear your life vest, wear your PFDs, do it safe. It's not worth, we got to make it home. It's that busy season where we get stupid stuff happening on the water. So y'all just be safe.